Welcome to Computer Repair Podcast, episode number 301, Voice over Internet Protocol. I'm your host, Jeff Halash. This is our live show where we discuss the ins and outs of running your computer repair business. Our show today is brought to you by Instant House Call, remote support that is easy for you and your clients to use. You have all the tools you need, including an auto repair feature, which saves you time and money when helping your clients solve their computer problems. Check it out at instanthousecall.com. Use offer code PODNUTS. And before I actually introduce my co-host, I want to say a very, very happy Veterans Day to all the people who have served all over the world as a military veteran. And we just really appreciate that and applaud you for giving that time and sacrifice of serving your country. So just want to say that. And let me introduce the co-host. We have John Dubinsky from the Maven Group. John, how you doing?
Fantastic to be here. Thanks, Jeff.
Awesome. And we have also Adam Carpenter from IT Professionals of Iowa. Adam, how you doing?
I'm great.
And also a very special guest, we have Paul Mendiola from FreedomVoice. And Paul, I hope I did not butcher your last name. I meant to ask you before we started.
No, that was right on. Way to go, Jeff. I'm doing good. Good. Glad to be here. Thank you.
All right, let's go ahead and start off with our normal tips and tricks. And John, we're going to kick it over to you.
Well, just two short ones as usual. Actually, one tip, one question. First thing I had, and it's funny, I've been doing this, it seems like for a long time, but I got bit twice by this. I cloned a Windows 7 computer to an SSD. Then when I rebooted, I got the login screen. I would log in and get the blue screen of death. So I did a little I didn't do anything the first time. I just did a fresh Windows 10 install thinking, it must have been something with my clone or whatever, because it wasn't a big deal, not a lot of data, not a lot of profile. But the second one had a ton of custom stuff on it. So I did a little digging, and if I find out that, and I don't know if this only happens with the Crucial drives that I do, but when you're doing the Windows 7, the recommendation from Crucial is that you uninstall all custom SATA drivers so that only the Microsoft drivers are installed. So if you have Intel or what else is out there, VIA or whatever other SATA drivers, they say a lot of times on Windows 7, you won't get a good clone. So there's a tip. I got a link in the forum or in the show notes for it on a post that I followed. And when I did that, it worked great, flawlessly. My question of the week is, anybody using IT Boost? And if you are, what do you think? My email is in the show notes. Send me an email. Thanks.
All right. And for those that don't know, IT Boost is a documentation software portal, right? Was probably the best way to put it.
Like SI Portal, like IT Glue. Yes.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah, and we've been checking that out over the last, few weeks, right, John?
Okay. Yes.
All right, Adam, what kind of tip or trick or story do you have for us this week?
So always be looking for new opportunities or new marketing options. So what we're going to try is reaching out to local news sources and see what we can do, whether we do an interview or get our blog on their site somehow, offer tips. Marketing doesn't always have to cost money. Sometimes they'll pay you for that. Sometimes it's free. Either way, just keep looking for new ways to market. There's always something.
All right. Definitely cool. Yep. Always market yourself because nobody else is going to do it for you, right? All right. And Paul, I hate to throw you on the spot, but if you have a tip or story that we could learn from, that would be awesome.
Yeah, sure. So I got a bit of a life hack. So a lot of times, I'm in the West Coast. It's pretty dry out here. Even today, it's like 75 degrees, sunny in San Diego. But if you are, in an area where you need to stay hydrated, the best way to do it in the morning is to have a squeeze of lemon with your water. So just cut the lemon in half, squeeze it into your water, and that will hydrate you better than just plain water. So try it out, and I think it'll help you in the morning.
I like that. That's good. Yeah, I'd never heard of that before, and it makes sense though. Very cool. A little lemon in the morning, make you sweet, not sour. All right, so let's see. My personal tip is going to be a little bit of, this is story time with Jeff. So midweek, I was playing League of Legends, or actually not really playing. My kids, my 13 and 11-year-old, were trying to teach me how to play League of Legends, which I was doing very poorly at. But they were kind of teaching me the ropes. I had something go on with the computer, and everybody knows this is a brand new build. It's about 38 days old. Well, 41 now, but at the time it was about 38 days old. And so all of a sudden I said, all right, I need to restart this thing. Something's going on. I restarted the computer and it came up to a black screen, no boot whatsoever, no video. So I go through, I hate working on my own stuff. I really do, because I just want it to work. I understand why customers get frustrated with us sometimes because they just want it to work. I understand this because I want the same thing. So I was going through all the steps, pulling the video card out, using the onboard video card through the CPU, all that kind of stuff. No boot, no BIOS, no OS, nothing. And I'm like going, wow, this is really weird. Anyways, long story short, I pull everything out, pull all the drives, unplug everything except for the CPU, the cooler, and one stick of RAM, which I determined the RAM was good. So I'm trying to run the system, still nothing. So it comes up, Asus has these wonderful codes. They don't really tell you a whole lot. And try to parse the information on the internet is not fun. But it was a code 02. And this is basically it's a microcode for starting up basically inside the processor. So it's got to pass this microcode processing to get to the next step and to boot the system up. Well, it kept freezing on that. So I do some Googling, do some research, and come to find out a lot of people were saying CPU generally is bad. And I look at it, once you get down to these last few things, you either have the CPU or the motherboard, neither of which you normally have an extra one laying around that you can just swap parts out. So I'm sitting here going, that's great. I got a podcast on Sunday. What am I going to do? I've got a couple different options. I could get a couple parts for my old system, a power supply and a CPU cooler, because something was going on with my other one. I could reboot that back up, get it going just for the podcast. All right, no big deal. I could use my laptop, which I don't know, video wise may or may not work. I'm not really sure. Maybe we should do a test one of these weeks, but I just didn't feel like doing it this week. Or I could buy a new processor on Amazon and see if it's a processor, of which I did. So I bought a cheap Core i3, which is what I'm on right now. And I put the Core i3 in. Sure enough, I boot everything up. Well, partially. I get to the BIOS, which is a good sign. Now, let me tell you, here's where the tip comes in. When you're putting things back together, if you have to force something, then it's not right. And I'll tell you why. So on this particular motherboard, there's a M.2 for the NVMe drive. There's a little clip in there that you can put underneath this metal shroud, which has a heat sink on it. And you can hide the NVMe drive on the motherboard. Beautiful. So after I went to put it back in, apparently I didn't click it in all the way. And I knew this because when I went to put the cover on, it was kind of forcing against it. Being in a hurry, not thinking, I put screws back in. So now I'm panicking when I go to boot up the drive because I'm like going, okay, these are very expensive parts. I don't want to short them out. I didn't. Everything was fine. I pulled the cover back off. I had to pull everything back out, the video card, and all that, because you got to get to the cover, pull it out, reseated the drive, everything booted up just fine, worked beautifully. So take your time, double check, and if you have to force it, don't. That is my tip for this week. All right, so let's see. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back into our main topic. TechCon Unplugged, September 20th through the 22nd, 2019. It's in Grand Rapids, Michigan. For tickets and hotel reservations, go to techconunplugged.com and you can get all the information there. We're going to be adding stuff over to that site in the next few months. We're working on a couple things. Right now, you can get your reservations with the code that we have via the hotel, and it's $102 a night, which is dirt cheap. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get it extended so that those that want to come in like a day early on a Thursday and leave on a Monday, that code will still work for those 2 days if you want to stay a little bit longer or come in early. So we're still working on that with the hotel. Hopefully we will have something on that this coming week. They just changed they just changed hands with one of the people that we were actually working with. So, yeah. Anyways, everything will be fine. We just got to get that up and running and then get that on there so that people can go there. But if you're just coming in Friday and staying, through Saturday night and you're going to check out Sunday, everything works beautifully. I did it this afternoon, not a problem. So anyways, FYI. But what I need is for everybody that's listening to the sound of my voice right now is what we really want is we want buy-in to what we're doing as far as bringing the community together. And if you remotely are thinking about going, get your tickets, get your hotel room now, get it done, get it before the end of the year so that we can plan accordingly and do all the things that we need to do, pay for food and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, that is your goal or that's my goal for you all out there is to go buy your tickets, go get your hotel rooms. Let's make this an awesome time where we can come together, learn, and have a lot of fun. That's the only two things I want. I want to learn and have a lot of fun. If we can't do either one of those, there's no point. All right. Okay. So let's move on to our main topic. VoIP. What is it? Yes, I just used an acronym. And what do we do with it? So I want to kick this off to Paul, since he is from FreedomVoice, who does VoIP services. And kind of, Paul, if you could just give us a real quick background on you, maybe where you kind of got started and what types of things that maybe we can do with VoIP or, need to be thinking about as far as, that voice over internet protocol, as it's called, or the old timers would call it telephony, or, many different things. But anyways.
Yeah, exactly. So thanks, Jeff. So voice over IP has been around a long time. I'm sure you've remembered the good old days of Vonage residential. And this might be aging me a little bit, but I've been in telecommunications for a while, but those residential days were really hard. The bandwidth wasn't there. People trying to do VoIP over DSL. It was just brutal. But people wanted to pay less money, right? They wanted to pay less money for their phone bills and long distance and all that stuff. So I think that's where VoIP really became a household name. That must have been early 2000s, and I've been in telecommunications, since that time. I've been with FreedomVoice for the past 5 years, and we primarily sell through our channel partners, so IT consultants and MSPs across the country. And before that, I was working in a telecommunications agency. So we sold a lot of internet connections, direct internet access, a lot of T1s, PRIs, that sort of thing back in the day. And it's just evolved from there. As internet has gotten cheaper and more robust, you're seeing a lot of applications on the network, and with the routing capabilities and the bandwidth expanding, we're seeing not only VoIP, but so many other cloud or hosted applications today. And it just makes sense for the small to medium-sized business to take advantage of that. So we're in a perfect spot in terms of what we do. And I think the partners that we have on board are also in a perfect spot for taking advantage of bringing this type of solution to their customer base, because it's in high demand. And a lot of times when I'm speaking to partners, they're kind of apprehensive, right, to start selling VoIP. And there's a variety of different reasons, but I get it, right? It's a new service. They don't know the lingo. They're not familiar with how it's going to perform. They don't want to jeopardize their IT business. So I get all sorts of these concerns, but at the end of the day, the customer is the one demanding that they look at this particular type of service. And if they're not offering it, then, right, they're opening up that customer to somebody else, right? It's either a competitor in their space, or it can be a telecommunications company that tries to come in. So it's also a good way to protect their customer base as well by having the service stack include VoIP. But Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say that's very good. Yeah, I think a lot of times when we're thinking about learning something new, we look at it as how much time are we going to have to take to learn this new thing in order to to give it to our customers, and is it worth it in the end?
Exactly. So, but in terms of VoIP, I don't think you have to look at it in just as in terms of the residual money you're going to make. I think it's more, they should, ISPs and our MSPs should look at it more as an added value, right? To round out their service stack, to provide that full service capability to their customer base, also to protect that customer base. And the VoIP solutions today, a lot of them are over the top, right? Meaning all you need is an internet connection. And they already have the infrastructure, right? They've got capable bandwidth. They've got a great firewall router with the QoS capabilities. So it's just a matter of understanding how to approach these customers with the offering, the types of questions to ask. And really, FreedomVoice does a lot of the heavy lifting for them. All we're asking them to do is to make an introduction. We're experts at what we do. We want to bring that to their customer base, and just we'll even do the demos for them. So we make it quite easy for the MSP and the IT consultants to do business with us.
I want to add on to what Paul's saying, just from the fact that I don't think he was going to say it, but being on this side of the aisle, being able to pick the vendor that you're working with, and instead of letting your customer choose that decision. Like, I don't work directly with FreedomVoice, but from what I've heard, they're a great partner. And then, I won't use any company names, there's a lot of other companies that we hear stories about that aren't great partners. So you want to find a partner that's going to help you, and the solution isn't just reboot your router and you'll be good. Something like that. One that gets involved at the beginning, just like Paul said, that hey, you need to meet these bandwidth requirements. If you don't, that the company's not just out to make the sale, that they want the relationship to be good on their end, your end, and the customer end.
That's good, John. I was just thinking, yeah, channel friendly is so important nowadays. It's kind of like customer service. Channel friendly and customer service are almost the same thing, and we have a lack of both of them nowadays. So to have a company like FreedomVoice come out and be, channel friendly to their end customers is just awesome. Now, Adam, I want to ask you a quick question, because I know you just signed up for FreedomVoice, and we saw actually Paul a couple months ago at one of the conferences, and basically now I understand you and Paul have talked a little bit too. So what has been your experience so far as signing up for FreedomVoice and getting a better understanding of supplying your customers?
Sure. So yeah, up until the conference that we were at, where we all met, I was dead set against phone service of any kind. Not because I had a bad experience. It just, I didn't want to bring on something else to manage, learn, and take on. So, during his presentation, he made it seem really simple, and I thought, you know what, this is kind of the missing piece for us. Let's check it out. Let's see what it's about, because they were talking about customer service and how they handle a lot of it. And so we're a big believer in eat your own dog food. So if we're going to sell a product, we're going to use it. So first thing we did was we got set up with our phones. We have 2 of them through them. And we went into this not knowing anything other than what the acronym stood for, So we had no idea what we were getting into. And they held our hand through the whole process, explained everything, told us what we needed. Even if I asked the same question over and over to try to get a better understanding, because like I said, I didn't know any of this. So it was great. We had, our situation was a little weird coming from our old carrier. So we had, a hiccup here and there, not their fault at all, just our setup. And they were great. They worked through it. They got everything working for us. And the call quality is much better. We had Verizon VoIP before this, and we had some weird issues with that. But these call consoles have been great for us. So they really do seem to care about the partner. They want to make sure that the process is smooth. So I can speak to that for sure.
Awesome. And I think it's something to note too, is I was one of the first people back in 1999 that went cell phone only. I got rid of the copper wire telephone. I haven't had a landline since. Now nowadays, though, customers that we're supporting that are in businesses, they still have to have those landlines. And I've said this before, we can sit here on this video right now here on YouTube just talking, and it's clear and concise, and we could go on a Google Hangout or whatever, and it just works, Skype, etc. So stuff over the internet is always a lot better than the stuff that you get from the crappy cell phone service that you have. The "Can you hear me now" commercials are they're point on, because cell phone service, as far as call quality, has sucked since the beginning and still does today. I don't care what anybody says. So nowadays, getting this clear line where business customers can talk to their customers, it's something that everybody's moving to. And what we don't want is what a lot of us run into. We run into an office and we'll see that Joe Bob's nephew just brought in this thing from Amazon and set up the whole VoIP service, and then they're going, "Hey, what's wrong with it?" And you're going, "I've never seen this before. I don't know what it does." And so it's very hard to support something like that when you don't know what you don't know. So, Paul, from your standpoint, obviously, if you get with a channel friendly partner like yourselves, then we have somebody that we can go to. And I'm going to say that exactly what Adam said. When you gave your presentation, I was like, I'm going to sign up for that, because that he's telling me they're basically going to do it all to a certain extent and teach me everything for being part of the service. And that's, again, kudos to you guys, because that's awesome. And that doesn't happen all the time nowadays. People, most companies are like, "Hey, here's our stuff. Yeah, figure it out."
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we've done since the beginning, since we started our channel. We are 100% channel focused. We are trying to cater to our partners and provide the best experience possible for them, and rolling out the red carpet, right? We give them a dedicated partner support line, and it bypasses the regular queue, and they go directly to our tier 3, reps, our most knowledgeable, most experienced reps. And usually they can solve the issue within the first phone call. Now that's saying something, because a lot of our competitors, you'll be transferred to their call center, and it lands in the Philippines, or it lands in India or Costa Rica, and then you're working through tickets, right? And they're trying to figure out who you spoke to last, what was resolved, and it can just be a really unforgiving, just a real pain, just to try to get support from them. And we've taken all of that red tape out of the equation, and you know who you're talking to, right? You call our partner support rep, and Gilbert, he's one of our best reps. He handles a lot of the early morning calls. People know him by name, right? They get a rapport with him. They know he's going to go the extra mile to get their stuff done. And so it's just a totally different experience, and something that the partners are, they truly appreciate how we conduct ourselves on these calls, and the business that we do, and the help we provide, because they don't see this type of support from other competitors. And it's so refreshing when they come over to us, and we get high marks all the time, regarding our partner support team and what they do for them. So that's just one nugget that we bring to the table among many others. But yeah, we are channel friendly. We want to help our partners, and we definitely do go the extra mile for them.
So, John, I'm going to ask you. So, how important is channel friendly companies and that type of support to you?
Well, I think a lot of the vendors we choose and talk about, that's one of the primary things we say, that that they try to, our partners, our vendors try to support us as much as we try to support our customers. So that's the primary thing. And using FreedomVoice as an example, I think that's exactly what we're working through. We just want to pick up the phone and get a solution, because in our job, in our business, time is money. And if we're calling, that means there's something really not working. So that also means our customer is probably breathing down our neck, or we're trying to meet an SLA, or we're trying to do something, or we're just trying to get to the next appointment, or maybe start the weekend and have a beer. But whatever it is, we want those problems solved quickly. So, I mean, if I was going to weigh two companies, I might even choose a channel-friendly company over one that might have a slightly better product, just based on the service I might get. So
That's good because yeah, we just want somebody that's going to help us solve our problems. Because I'm with you, John. How many times as a technician will we go out there and we'll try to figure it out? I mean, we're fairly intelligent people, I would gather, for most of us, right? And at least that's what I think. And so a lot of times we're going to try to figure things out using the normal tools that we have, but yeah, we're not perfect. And a lot of times, like you said, time's money. It's nice to have that support that you can actually call, get a hold of somebody, and not be transferred because I can't understand. Listen, and I've called other vendors. We won't talk bad about them, Comcast. But I basically I've called them and listen, here's what I did. You're not going to tell me to reset the modem. You're not going to tell me none of this stuff. You either move it up now or we move ahead with some different things. We have a problem. I've already diagnosed everything here. Now, I'm not saying that all of us we can be perfect every time, but a lot of times we've gone through the normal steps. And a lot of these companies are just reading from a basically their computer screen. Ask the customer this, tell them to do that. And it's like, I get that as a basis to start, but you've got to be able to think outside of the box. So um, when you have that type of support, I think it's very, very important. Now, Paul,
well, just think of dealing with Comcast. I mean, it's okay if you need a new modem, but if you have any sort of routing issue or something like that, I mean, you got to have some sort of battle with their technical support in order to try to get to some level of technician that can actually understand what doing a trace route is. So, I mean, that's a great example of having a good partner versus not.
exactly. So, Paul, as far as so obviously everybody's they've got to have phones, and we really don't have the copper lines anymore. And we've already talked about cell phone service being what it is, and so we've got to be able to put these systems into our customers. And so it sounds like you guys have the support thing knocked down and everything. And tell us a little bit more about what VoIP can do for our customers. The end user, as far as is what they can do with it nowadays, because maybe a lot of people out there don't know the different things that you can do with the different services.
Yeah, so the VoIP solutions have matured over the years, right? It's not just the fact that you can have a conversation over the internet. And by the way, the sound quality is exceptional with our Polycom handsets, and they're definitely, I guess, within the top tier, right, of VoIP handsets, definitely. So obviously they want reliability, right? They got to have reliability. You got to have the quality of service there, because that's what they rely on. That's how they conduct their business. But VoIP can take your company phone system to the next level. So in any small business, it really depends on type of business and how they're functioning, in terms of what type of feature set they're looking for. So I'll give you an example. So let's say we have an insurance agency, and they have lots of people on the phone, right? They're interfacing with their customers a lot, and they need to be able to have accurate either quotes or accurate claims, right? So that when they file these claims, they're processing them based on what the customer is telling them. So we have customers in that vertical who do call recording, and so the call recording is essential for their business because they rely on that, right, to go back and quality control what was said on the phone to make sure that they're processing either the claims or the orders correctly. And that recording becomes part of the customer service record. So it's a component that Comcast can't provide, or other providers like that. And it's definitely a huge win for the customers in that space because it makes their company more efficient. They have more accurate quoting, more accurate claims processing, and it's essential for their business. Also, you look at today's workforce; it's very mobile. Not everybody's sitting at their desk in an office these days, right? It's quite often that you get folks working from home, and in a case like that, you can work from home by bringing your home office phone to your house, plug it into your router, and it'll still work as if you're sitting at your desk. Or you can use a soft phone app. So soft phones can be utilized on a PC or a laptop, right? You just plug in a headset with a microphone, and you're good to go. And that's an extension of the phone system, right? So you're able to supply telephony for mobile workers or people who want to work from home quite easily using these soft phone apps. Or you can install it on a cell phone. So there's lots of ways to stay connected, even if you're mobile or working remotely. And then we see a lot of times companies who have multiple locations, they rip out these old PBX systems in the closet, and they eliminate, multiple phone systems at each site. So you can have 3, maybe 4 sites on one system, and they're all talking to each other over extension-to-extension dialing. They can route calls through one auto attendant, based on the location, and it just brings a lot more efficiency and cost savings to that company. So we're seeing a lot of mobility within these VoIP systems, and it's just going to continue to grow as we become a more mobile workforce.
I like that. Adam, let me ask you a quick question, and that is, when you started, because obviously you were on the camp of, I don't want to have anything to do with VoIP. Now you want to provide a service to your customers. So what was your thought process when you first started up and got a hold of FreedomVoice and said, hey, this is the partner I'm going to use because I know, like, and trust them, and here's my plan going forward? Or did maybe you didn't have a plan?
So really, I didn't have a plan. It was, we heard him talk, and so I called him up and said, hey, what's the process? How do we get started with this? And we just went from there, and they kind of walked us through what we needed, what the plans were, what the typical process was. And I said, okay, well, that was easy. That's it, and it was really that easy, and Paul had reassured me that, look, we will walk you through every step of the process. And because I let them know, look, I don't know anything about phones, and so they have a great partner plan where you can get reduced rate phones and service and whatnot. So I said, okay, let's get 2 of them. Let's try it out. We got our number all set up, and then once we got the phones, we worked with Gilbert actually, and got the features that we want set up. So we have certain call routing during the day, and then we have an after-hours voicemail and those things. We have 2 different extensions. Real basic, but setting it up myself, I wouldn't have known where to go. They walked me through the whole thing. We did a remote session, got it all set up, and everything has just been smooth. It just works.
Awesome.
And Adam brings up a good point. Adam said he went into it not knowing nothing, and knowing Adam, he's probably selling himself a little bit short there. But there are probably a couple things that you should just be familiar with, just so you know if the gear at the location and and actually I have a link to a FreedomVoice document that I'll put in the show notes. But you should have a little bit of understanding just exactly what VoIP is, maybe a little bit about what's called SIP ALG and SIP, and a little bit about DHCP and option 66 using that. And I'll put all that in the show notes, but those are some things that you should probably, and QoS. Just make sure that your gear on site can do and can handle, and a lot of those things will make your installation much easier and quicker.
Very nice, John. And those that don't know, QoS stands for
quality of service.
That's basically where you can shape your traffic to give more to one portion of the network, whether it be a phone handset or a certain computer, et cetera, servers, and so on.
Yep, or by protocol or however you want to do it. Yep. So I would imagine most providers do this, but FreedomVoice actually has on their site which routers they recommend and which settings to use and how to set them up. So that's another helping feature.
I found a FreedomVoice customer workbook Windows doc that I'll put in the show notes. I don't know if it's FreedomVoice official. It's not from their website, but it has a lot of great information in it. So.
And Paul, do you guys have a lot of documentation for people to be able to read and kind of understand a little bit of what they're doing before maybe they jump in to get wrap their heads around it?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you become a partner with FreedomVoice, we really have a thorough onboarding program, and it starts off with our university. So the FreedomVoice University is a link that's sent out after the partner agreement's inked and their account set up, and it takes them through. It's an hour-long video-based training session, and it gives them a good foundation of QoS and DHCP and SIP ALG and some of the technical aspects of setting up and installing, and then also gets them familiar with their web portal, so they understand what call forwarding is and call routing and auto attendance and all the typical things that come with setting up the system. So that really sets the tone for the training and gives them that foundation, as I mentioned earlier, to get going with us. And then we, the channel account management team, will schedule a call with them, and we'll go over all the resources that are available. So in our partner portal, we have a marketing toolkit, and the marketing toolkit shows them all the collateral that they have at their disposal to download and customize with their logo and contact information right on the fly. So if it's a promotion that we're trying to run for the quarter, they have the ability to download that material, customer-facing flyer, and they're off and running. Right? They have the material. They've got email templates. They've got social media links. They got postcards. So it's all there, right at their disposal in the marketing toolkit. And then we help them. We help them in terms of how do you want to at what pace do you want to sell? Do you just want to get referrals and then get people on board as they come, or do you want to take a more proactive approach, and do you want to actually do some marketing using the material that we provide? Do you want us to assist you in any way in terms of pulling a marketing list and getting those postcards mailed? So it's really up to the partner and how quickly they want to get started. But all the resources and the tools and the assistance from our account management team is available for them. And we've seen some of our newer partners really take off, not knowing anything at all about VoIP. And they were just, go-getters, very aggressive, very hungry. And they saw the opportunity to leverage our marketing material to get in the door of new customers that, they felt would be easier to talk about phones versus talking about a managed service agreement. So so they're leveraging our material, our promotions, and our offers to get in the door, talk to them about phones, and then talk to them about the IT support that they can provide. And it's been working out quite well for them.
Very good. Wow, that's yeah. I think there's a lot of things that we can look at. John, let me ask you this, because I know you use a separate partner to do your VoIP systems, because it's not one of the things that you wanted to do. You obviously have niched down to the things that you want to support, which is good. But what do you see a lot of problems out there nowadays with VoIP, or for the most part, does it just work?
No, the only guys I talk to, and let me back up. The primary problem you probably have with your VoIP is your internet connection. I put some links in the show notes too. Around our area, most businesses probably use Comcast Business, and there are some Comcast modems that you want to stay away from because they will cause some one-way traffic with SIP. So I put the modems that we've had very good luck with, and the ones that we've had issues with, even when they're in bridge mode, even when they're so on its virtual bridge mode, all that kind of stuff. So, take it with a grain of salt. But if you can get the two that we recommend, which are both reaching end of life, so that can be tough as well. So, use with a grain of salt. So that's the primary issue I see. The other primary, before I partnered with the vendor I have now, which was probably about 2.5 years ago, we went through a couple of other vendors, not ones that we recommended to work with, ones that customers brought to us. And there were a lot of problems, meaning, the problem was always on our end, or 1 month to resolution, or all of that kind of stuff. So that's kind of why we went on the hunt and found somebody local, so that I had I guess at that point, a throat to choke, and basically said to them, look, we'll give you all these customers that are totally frustrated, and you just take care of everything. If you need us to do something on the network, we'll do it for you, just as long as we work together or collaborate to do whatever the solution is. And it's really made those tickets disappear. I mean, if I have one VoIP ticket a month, and the carrier or the service provider that I deal with handles all the adds, changes, updates, that kind of stuff. So it's totally taken that off my plate, which is what I wanted.
Nice. So, Paul, with that being said, obviously there's a lot of people out there that are going to want to do this for themselves. And it sounds like that you guys have positioned yourselves in a place where kind of what John has really is a co-collaborator to basically as a arm of the business in order to provide that particular service with people like Adam or myself that know Adam probably knows more about VoIP now than I do. But next to nothing as far as VoIP and being able to go out there and know that we've got that support that we can call on. Because again, we don't see that as much anymore.
Right. So yeah, we try to take an active role in supporting our customers as well as your customers, because obviously, if we can take care of your customers and give them reliable service, minimize the time for you to actually take to support them, then you're going to bring us more, right? So we are very proactive in resolving issues. Our network is extremely reliable. We're definitely undersubscribed, and we have a great operations team that has been doing this for over 23 years. So it's a seasoned network. We have great operations team in place, and they really know how to take care of the infrastructure that we've built. So that's why we see such high reliability. We see longevity with our customer base, and that's exactly what our partners want, right? They want the support, they want the reliability of the network, and they want to be able to call somebody and not wait in line, right? Not waste time, not have to go back and forth with tickets. They call our partner support team, they get right in, they're able to resolve the issue, the first call, and be done with it. Go on with their business, do what they do best, support the servers and PCs and do the backups. And the VoIP is just an add-on product for them. And if it's a product that we can help support and we can reduce their time, then they love us, right? They recommend us, right? We get more partners out of it. So it's definitely an approach that's worked for us, and our partner base is really loyal. You'll see that.
That's good. Yeah, because again, you don't want people just jumping ship all the time, moving from one product or service to another. John and I talk about this quite often. Everybody's always chasing the magic nut out there, or the silver bullet, or whatever you want to call it. And the reality is, sometimes you got to get somebody that you're loyal with. So, Paul, obviously, it sounds like it's easy to get set up with you guys. It's easy to, your onboarding sounds phenomenal. Is there anything at this point that we have not talked about that you just want to kind of run through as far as, what Freedom Voice can do for the customer, and obviously the end customer, our customers that we support?
So, yeah, we've touched upon a lot of different topics and how we support the partner base and, make it easy for them to sell and market and support. We have a couple promotions that, I would like to mention.
Okay.
So for every partner out there, we have a quarterly promotion. Currently, we're giving a $100 Amazon gift card for any customer that wants to take a look at Freedom Voice. And what that entails is just a copy of the phone bill for review, and for the customer to attend a short 20-minute demo. The channel account managers will conduct the demo on behalf of the partner. We use a Zoom meeting session, and they can either be on site or they can be remote. But it really helps to help sell the account and just provide all the information for that prospect right on the demo. And the partner doesn't have to know everything about the phone system, since we're going to conduct the demo for him. We're going to answer the questions and all the objections. And once they can complete the demo, they're really in a place where they can make a decision. And it makes it easy at that point to present the numbers and the proposal. And we have this easy quote tool that partners can use. It's a super intuitive tool, and the proposals are clean. Once they present the proposal, we usually have a yay or nay, but hopefully it's going to be a yes in our favor for most part.
So let me get this right. So you're actually telling me that you're going to sell for us too.
Exactly. Right. So if a partner has a prospect, they're uncomfortable in pitching the voice over IP service, all they really need to do is ask them if they'd like to save some money and get a $100 Amazon gift card. And they'd say, yeah, sure, let's check it out. All I need is a copy of the phone bill. Send the phone bill over to your account management team, schedule a demo, and we'll do all the selling for them. It's really quite easy.
That is cool. Okay. So there is absolutely no reason to get signed up with Freedom Voice and, hey, check it out, try it out. I mean, really, what do you have to lose?
And the partner agreement requirements, there's no actual cost to sign up as a partner. And then we also have, for an NFR demo system, a really sweet deal. So the partners get a free Polycom VVX 401 phone, and all they have to pay is $10 a month for the service. And $10 plus tax. They get all the features. They can use it as their internal phone system, and they have a demo phone to show their customers. So it's pretty inexpensive.
That is slick. I want to come work for you guys. That's awesome. So, wow. Yeah. I mean, again, I personally, Adam, are you seeing any downsides here?
So far, my interactions have been great. So no.
Okay. John, you like what you're hearing?
Yeah, from what I've heard from B and all that, if I didn't have my current provider, I would definitely be checking out Freedom Voice. They sound like they do it right, especially compared to other vendors that I've had to deal with at some customer locations. So
very cool. All right, Paul, is there anything else that we haven't covered as of yet, or have we covered everything as far as what VoIP can do for you? Obviously, there's probably a ton of things that we could go into, but it sounds like people can sign up. It's free to do that. They can get the education, they can get the onboarding, get a better understanding of what they're doing, go to their customers, have you sell the service for them, get a gift card. I mean, I'm just, if you're not signing up, I don't know, you must have a really better deal, I guess.
Yeah, we try to make it as sweet as possible, and that's why we get so many partner referrals. So I've got a partner out of Tennessee. His name's Jason Miller. He was at the ITO campus in Chicago. He ran the demo for us for the partners, and they loved his presentation. His knowledge of the system, his willingness to share his expertise and his understanding of the system and how to deploy it, how to support it, all the processes he's put in place. It's just a wonderful partnership. And so he's referred a lot of business to me, a lot of partners who've signed up, like Adam, like Marvin B., like Dr. Dave. So I'm very thankful for him as a partner. And we want to be a sponsor next year as well at the show in Michigan.
All right. Awesome. That is very cool to hear. Yep. I know we're in talks with you guys. It's a great opportunity. And again, I talked to Jason Miller at the last conference, and I still had I didn't want to do anything with VoIP. And then, like I said, I heard Paul's presentation, and I was like, Huh, yeah, maybe. Not that in Jason, he is a super, super smart guy. And he knows how to do things. And unfortunately, I missed that presentation, but hopefully, maybe we'll have him around again where he can do that and share with how he does his business, because he's been doing VoIP for quite a while, from what I understand.
Yeah, he's definitely one of my best partners on the East Coast. He sells a ton of phone systems, and he's growing. Right, he's in the process of expanding his business, hiring more employees. And if you want to look at somebody who's successful as an MSP, he's definitely one to take a note of and use him as a case study and figure out what he's doing, because he's definitely doing it right.
Awesome. Good. Glad to hear it. All right. So with that being said, John, any wrap up notes? Anything you want to add?
No, I think we covered all the basics. That's for certain.
Okay. Adam, anything?
Nope.
Okay. Awesome. I think we were able to cover this in a record amount of time, which is good. So let's go ahead and take another quick break. And Paul, if you have anything to add, or
No, if anyone's interested in signing up with us and joining the partner program, certainly you can go to freedomvoice.com. We have a partner inquiry form on their site, or if you want to post my contact information, feel free to do so, and I'd be happy to talk to anybody regarding the partner program.
awesome. Yeah, we definitely will have your information there. So obviously, hopefully we'll send some people your way to get in touch, and you can let them know what they need to do. So that'd be awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a quick break, and then we've got a couple of emails to go through. If you all like what you're hearing and you would like to support what we're doing here, just go to patreon.com/computer repair podcast, and you can become a patron of what we're doing. And with that, you will be inducted into the super secret Facebook group, where you have a group of people who share good information. They're very friendly, and if they're not, we kick them out. And we haven't had any problems yet. I think we've been running for a little bit over a year now. We've got like 97 people in there, and there's a lot of good questions asked. There's a lot of good conversation going back and forth. A lot of times it's nice to have a sounding board when you're trying to figure out how to do something. So that's one of the things we wanted to provide, but we wanted to provide it in a safe way, unlike other groups out there. And there's some good ones, but there's some groups, we all know who they are, where you ask a question and they treat you like you don't know what you're talking about, or why are you even in this business? You should jump off a bridge. And so we don't do that. So anyways, go to patreon.com/computer repair podcast. And I want to thank all of our current patrons for supporting this show. Okay, so let's go ahead, and we've got a couple of emails. Let's go ahead and go through those. All right, this one says, "Hi, Jeff. I just listened to show 297, and man, I have made those common mistakes, specifically the one that James mentioned about incorporating. I've been consulting part-time since 2010 and still haven't gotten around to doing that. Get it done. Going to start researching the process. I'm in California, so hopefully it is as easy as you mentioned to be in Michigan. I'm going to ask in a Facebook group to see if anyone in California has gone through the process. Love the shows. You guys are awesome, Lewis." Thank you for the email. Appreciate that. And yes, one of the first things that you probably should do to separate yourself, your personal self, from your business, is incorporate or become an LLC, etc. Now, Paul, you said you're in San Diego, right?
Yeah, San Diego, North County.
Okay. So I don't know if you know anything about creating an LLC or incorporating. Is it fairly easy out there?
Well, yeah, you can even go to legalzoom.com.
There you go.
And they can take care of the entire process for you. A couple $100 will get it done. Or you can go to an attorney that you may know through a family friend or neighbor. The process, to incorporate, you got to have the articles of incorporation and all the bylaws and so forth. But yeah, I think LegalZoom might be an easy way to do it.
Okay. Yep, and I think we've told people that before. I know some people in certain states have complained that it's a hard process. I've created an LLC here in Michigan, and I've also incorporated another company, and it was super simple. So I was able to get it done fairly quickly. And actually, I just did it through the state website, and then get the EIN number through the IRS and all that. So it was easy to do. All right, cool. And let's see. All right, so the second email says, all right, hi, Jeff. Here is a time-saving tool that I found, use every day. And the most interesting thing was I did not have to buy anything new because I already owned it. It is the advanced features set of my office phone system. Oh. The inspiration that leads to this discovery came from being constantly interrupted by cold calling, salespeople, and other constant non-productive phone calls. We don't have any of those, do we? I dealt with those phone calls far too long. And then one day I just sat down and set up all the following features. To be honest, some of the features I set up were also out of convenience, laziness, and efficiency. I can relate. Advanced feature 1, office hours, enforces business office hours every day. No more phone calls coming in when we are technically closed and packing up. Saves time and allows everyone to go home before the worst of rush hour. That's a good feature. Advanced feature number 2, interactive voice response. No more being a switchboard operator. This feature manages the internal call routing flow, also filters time wasters out of my day. No longer am I interrupted by annoying phone calls from robocalls, wrong numbers, or Obamacare salespeople. Okay. Advanced feature number 3, custom greetings, recordings. I recorded a few answers to a few standard business questions that I felt did not need to be answered by a human being, i.e., office hours, address, and directions. The same thing that everybody asks, even though they're looking at it on your website. But anyways, advanced feature number 4, music on hold, aka advertising on hold. This feature saves me time and energy by breaking the ice and announcing a product or service we are promoting to the clients who have called in. That's a good one. Advanced feature number 5, fax and voicemail to email. This feature speaks for itself. When I need to get a copy of a signed contract over to our attorney, the ability to forward a fax as an email attachment is an important time saver, especially when I'm not in the office. Similarly, if I get a voicemail for someone else in the company, I can just forward the email with the voicemail. That's a good time saver there. Advanced feature number 6, remote extension. Saves me time by not having to fiddle with 2 separate mobile phones and keeps my personal cell phone number private. Thanks to an app on my iPhone, I only need to carry 1 cell phone. You don't want to be like Paco LeBron? I can receive and make phone calls from my personal cell phone as if I was in the office. Since the phone system enforces office hours, it eliminates phone call interruptions when I am not working, such as on evenings, weekends, vacation, kids' school activities, or at a doctor's appointment. Advanced feature number 7, call logs. When I forget to record the amount of billable time, happens frequently. Spend on the time phone resolving a client issue. I can easily look it up in the call logs. Quicker and more accurate than trying to estimate how much phone time the issue took. That's a good one. Desk phone presets. I programmed all sales and technical support phone numbers for all our vendors into the phone system. Now when someone needs to call a vendor or reach tech support, it is fast, simple, and as easy as pushing a button. Advanced feature number 9, integration with Sugar CRM. When a client calls, all his or her information automatically pops up on our screens. Everything from notes, billing, and sales network documentation. No more searching for someone in bookkeeping or looking through our group shares for client info. Make us look like we have a superhuman memory and speed. I want some of that. All these small individual time savers really add up to several hours saved a year. This email might sound like a sales pitch for a phone system, but it is not. It is an example that sometimes we need to take the time to fully configure equipment we already own in order to reap all the benefits. In addition, this experience furnished me with a mastery of phone systems that I was able to transfer to my business. We now offer phone systems and service alongside our other services. Take care, Edward. All right. Very cool. So, obviously, that's kind of what we're talking about in this show, is having those type of phone services that can do things for us. And obviously, I probably don't even have to ask this, Paul, but there's probably a lot of those features that Freedom Voice has, right?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of great examples there, and a lot of ways that, if a company's not fully utilizing all the features, they're missing out, right? not being interrupted when you're off, that's golden, right? You want that time with your family, or you don't want to be interrupted. And those robocalls that annoy you to death, you want those eliminated, right? So just record an auto attendant greeting, give them the option for service, press 1, for sales, press 2, and then schedule it so that you don't get calls after business hours. Wonderful.
Very cool. John, you were going to say you were going to add a tip there?
No, it's just funny. It's almost like he knew we were going to talk about this week.
I know.
And that's another thing where a lot of the customers might not understand when they switch to a VoIP system is, especially if they're coming from a really old analog system, everything that they can do. Paul touched on some of them. Some of the disaster recovery features where somebody could actually snag a phone, take it home, and if their office doesn't have power or something like that. Usually, most providers, you can pre-set up disaster recovery. So if the internet goes down, it's already pre-set up to forward to other numbers or do something else, so on and so forth. So, there's a lot of features that your customers might not understand besides some probable or possible cost savings and, better call clarity.
I like it. Adam, anything to add?
Really almost the same thing. One thing that was nice for us is I programmed both of our phones before we took one to the other office. So you can program them before you take them on site, and it just works.
I like that, being able to move the phone around. I know
Yeah.
to a lot of people, it seems like, well, why would I want to do that? But it actually makes sense. Especially the a lot of people that will work at home part of the time. It just, yeah, smart business. I like it. All right, in our last email, let's see. I got a couple long emails. I actually enjoy long emails, not so much reading them, but I do enjoy the content that you guys have taken the time to put forth. So definitely appreciate that. This one says, "Dear Jeff and gang." Notice, John, it doesn't say "Dear John and gang." I just wanted to point that out. Just
Nobody likes to get a Dear John letter.
Says, "Hello, I've been loving the shows and I'm learning a lot and getting some good tips on software and techniques to try. As of now, I'm only helping family and friends with computer issues, but eventually would like to set up a small side business, but don't want to delve too deep. Just jump off the edge. The water's fine. Since I am not very business savvy and still a bit leery about committing, finally, I also currently have a good full-time day job with great benefits. Secondly, if you would like to split up my comments and questions below for 2 shows, that is fine with me. I just like hearing the feedback from the guests regarding other people's questions." We'll see what we can get through. First topic. I seem to recall a brief discussion about this from one of the guests on a previous episode, but I do not recall any replies or feedback from the others. What programs or techniques do you use to document, organize, and save ideas and solutions to problems that you have come across and found solutions for? Jeff, if I remember correctly, you're using OneNote for something like this. Yes, I am. Also, is it a good idea to keep a log of an output of the specs for a machine you are working on using your program like Belarc Advisor or CPU-Z? I've not done this. Not sure if these logs would be useful. John, 2 cents. Documentation.
Organized. Documentation. Can we just talk about this?
Yes, we did. Many times.
Are we paying people to send this stuff in?
No.
Really.
It's.
These guys are locked on. Yeah, obviously. No, I just asked about IT Boost. I'm thinking about a switch to that. I've tried SI Portal. I've tried IT Glue. I don't dislike either one of those. I just didn't fall in love with either one of them. So I'm still looking. So I'm still using my homegrown G Suite solution, which works great for me. But I'm looking for something to maybe step up my game.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, and John's got a great system. We went over it last weekend? Yeah, last weekend. And so, yeah, very good system. But again, there's always room for improvement. Adam, what about you?
So for us, almost everything goes into Repair Shopper.
Okay. All right. Very good. So there's a couple options. Yeah, Repair Shopper is one out there. Paul, how about you? Use anything for documentation or organizing your thoughts, daily tasks, etc.?
I just use whatever's in Google. So I like the ability to be able to pull that stuff up on my phone. And so when I got when I get an inspiration or an idea, I just jot it down. It's saved in the cloud. I can share it with anybody. So it's G Suite.
Nice. Now, are you using an Android phone or an iPhone?
Funny you say that. I use an iPhone, but I use Google.
You know, I thought we had something going here, and that you're a normal technical person. It's funny how many people actually use iPhone, but it's okay. I still like it. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, so OneNote is where I keep, like, if I find a fix online, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll copy and paste that into OneNote. Usually, you can put an extension tab in your browser or button where you can just click it and take the whole page. But a lot of times I'll just copy and paste what I want, and I try to organize them. So if I have that same problem, I can go back and get that information again. A lot of people know how I originally started back in the day. I had these little things called 3x5 cards. And when I would call the technicians down at Dell to help me with my Dell computer, all the command line stuff that they would give me and all the instructions, I would actually jot those down in a 3x5 card, and that was saved in a file folder system that I would pull out if I needed that information again. So now we can just do that digitally online, makes it really nice and easy. And I'm with you guys. I want it accessible on my phone, tablet, laptop, wherever I'm at. So you can use OneNote, you can use the G Suite products, any of those. Repair Shopper, obviously they have an app and everything, and you can look at all the notes for your customer on there also. So very good. Now, as far as the output specs of a machine, John, do you keep that information? Is that information important to have using something like BellArc Advisor, or?
Well, my RMM keeps all that for me. Plus, I'm pretty standardized. So if you tell me you have an Optiplex 3010, I know all about that, or a 3020, or a 9010, or 3040, or whatever. And I out of the box, I'm going to know you've got an i5 and 8 gigs of RAM or better, probably. I shouldn't say that. Got some older ones out there with i5 and 4, but but if you're doing custom builds and all that kind of stuff, I would suggest you got to find a way to keep a really good track of that kind of stuff, especially if you're warrantying the boxes and all that kind of stuff yourself. But I would suggest a good RMM platform is going to keep most of that information for you and keep it readily available.
Okay, very good. Adam?
So for us, pretty much the same as John. Our RMM has all of that information. If it's one-off, we'll use Specky. That works pretty good for information for us.
Okay.
But we're pretty standard on our equipment as well.
Very good. And Paul, you probably don't catalog any computers or anything like that, right?
No, not scanning any UPC or serial numbers or anything like that. But Repair Shopper seems to be popular.
Yes. Yep.
We have quite a few partners who use ConnectWise.
Okay.
But I think Repair Shopper is an up and coming.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. Yeah. There's a lot of people in this community that have used them for years, really. Long time. So. All right. So let's go on to his second topic. So this is more of a technical question. I was recently working on a laptop which was extremely infected with malware that I opted to just do a reinstall after doing a user account backup with Fabs Auto Backup Pro, a very awesome program which I love since hearing about it on your show. Yes, if you guys don't use Fabs Auto Backup, you are missing out. Definitely just go. I don't care what it costs. Go and buy it. It's not even that expensive. It's one of the cheapest tools that you can have in your arsenal in order to back up your customers' data before you do a nuke and pave. Even though I don't like doing nuke and paves, I still have the program in case I need to, because there are certain situations where you have to do that. It says, I ran into an issue with an OS product key, which I got from the currently installed OS, which was Windows 7 Ultimate 64-bit. Oh, this is already going downhill. After doing a reinstall, the product key would not activate and threw up an error message as being invalid. I tried multiple reinstalls and different techniques like putting in the key after the Windows started up and not during the install process. And also tried after updating the reinstall to SP1. All these attempts failed with the same results and the key being invalid. I then had a success using one of my previously unused keys, but it was for a Windows 7 Pro 32-bit version and not the Windows 7 Ultimate 64-bit version, which was already on the infected system. So who illegally sold you that? Because nobody bought Ultimate except me. I should give some further background on this as I'm going from the person I was helping. The laptop originally came with Windows Vista 64-bit, but it got hit with a crypto wall, ransomware, malware a while back. This person took the laptop to a local repair shop, which was only open for about a half a year and was suddenly closed. This is when the laptop got Windows 7 Ultimate put on after the ransomware hard drive was removed and a new hard drive was added. Woo. Yep. Yeah, again, I'm the only one that I know that has bought Ultimate back in the day. When I was not able to, everybody else was using it illegally for some reason. I don't know why everybody wanted Ultimate back then, but whatever. When I was not able to get Windows 7 Ultimate to reinstall using the key, I tried to download the ISO from Microsoft's site, but when I entered the key at the website, I got an error message again and could not download the ISO image, probably because it's been used like 5 million times. I then had an online chat with Microsoft agent and came to discover that the Windows 7 Ultimate key was a key for a computer manufacturer. Oh, gosh. I am not totally sure what this means, since before I did the initial reinstall, the Windows 7 Ultimate was showing as being activated and genuine in a property screen. I can't remember. I think you could trick that back in the day. My suspicion is that the computer repair shop had this drive laying around, which contained a genuine and activated copy of Windows 7 Ultimate already on it, and just placed it in this person's laptop and saw that it was working and sent them on their merry way. Yeah, it's never good. My other suspicion is that they did use a Windows 7 Ultimate computer manufacturer's operating system install disk to install this version of Windows on the laptop, and we would need to have access to that same disk in order for the product key to come back as being valid. Hope this all makes sense. Thanks for everything you all do to help educate us with the Podnuts shows. David C. from Springdale, Pennsylvania. David, thank you for that. Oh, gosh. So, yeah.
Hey, can you repeat that really quick?
Were you sleeping through that? Sorry. No, so back in the day, a lot of times, I don't know why everybody, my understanding is, and John, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you could only buy Windows 7 Ultimate retail. I don't know that you could get it with an OEM, could you?
No, you can get it OEM. You could get it OEM,
Okay.
at least for Dell. Yes, yes.
Okay. But you didn't see it a whole lot, did you?
No, I mean, you even had to search pretty hard for it. I don't know if you could even get it. I'm trying to think if like I've ever seen it as an option on like an Inspiron or something like that, like a consumer PC, even to be able to select it. You know, in a lot of even the business class products back in the day, had to kind of search for it, or I would even have to call and manually order it from my sales rep.
Wow.
So,
Adam, what about you?
So I'm thinking the only time I've seen it is on machines it shouldn't have been on.
Yeah.
But I think there's a couple different things that could have happened here. You know, either the things he had said, or the key that was pulled was actually the install key and not the actual product key. Because OEMs will use a different key for install that doesn't necessarily mean it was the one used to activate. So there's that, or whoever installed it probably used an activator that they shouldn't have, which will integrate that key and trick it into working. But, you know, based on the details of the store not being around very long, I'm pretty sure that's what's going on. You know, that shouldn't have been on there.
Exactly. A lot of people don't know this, or maybe a lot of people do, but because I didn't do it even back when I was custom building machines and you would buy an OEM copy of Windows, you're actually legally, the binding contract with that, you're supposed to take the sticker and stick it to the side of the computer, bottom of the laptop, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. And that OEM only supposed to be on that machine, whereas retail you could move it if you got different hardware.
Correct. Yes, it was tied to the equipment. Marvin B says,
yeah, I was just going to say that too, Jeff.
Go ahead, John.
No, Marvin made a good point too in the chat that you could do the anytime upgrade in Windows 7 when that was available if you wanted that. Now, besides the BitLocker, what was the Ultimate? Why? Why did we all want Ultimate? I don't remember. Just because it was the Ultimate?
I think it was just the name. I don't recall any features that really were that beneficial.
Just, well, like John said, BitLocker was the only reason I bought it, even though I didn't use BitLocker. But I thought, hey, maybe I want to. But you could get that was still Pro. So I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it
get BitLocker with Pro, not with the Windows 7.
Oh, it wasn't M Pro.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Oh, okay. So maybe that's why. Maybe. Well, a lot of people probably weren't using BitLocker back then either. But
No, we
yeah,
didn't have those client compliance worries back then.
yeah.
Those
So
were the days.
nowadays, the good news is a lot of times you're going to have with the Windows 7 or Windows 10 software nowadays, it's a lot easier with time. Once you tie the operating system to that particular machine, it's tied. I mean, unless you make a humongous change. I've only ran into one situation where I had a motherboard that died after 8 months. I replaced the motherboard and I had to go through a process to get that key to work on that machine again. And I think I had to get a hold of Microsoft and do it. It was a long time ago, but actually, wasn't it? Probably a couple years ago. And almost 3 years ago. But anyways, I remember going through that where, yeah, the motherboard being changed was enough to where the OEM key was no longer tied to that particular machine. But most of the time, man, if you swap out a hard drive or whatever, CPU, all that kind of stuff, video card, doesn't matter. Um, it'll work with that system.
I've ran into a couple times, and I'm haven't really been able to figure out why here lately. But when I'm trying to do a 7 to 10 upgrade, and the funny thing is, this is not on machines that I haven't sold, so I don't know where they came from or why we're getting this. But it says setup has failed to validate the product key, even though that the Windows 7 machine is fully activated.
Interesting. Okay.
And I've gone through Google and done some tips and all that and tried to trick it, but I've never been successful to get around that. I've always had to do a fresh install. So,
Well, and there's still I don't know if this is still current nowadays, but I think it is actually. You can use a Windows 7 product key if you have a legitimate one, not an illegal one, not one that's been used 1,000 different times. A legitimate Windows 7 key you can usually put on that product using you can download Windows 10 ISO, load it, throw the Windows 7 product key in there, and it will activate. From what I've seen.
I haven't had any problem with any activation with a legitimate key.
Yeah. But yeah, and I don't know if Microsoft has it anymore, but they used to have it on their website where you could actually put in a product key and it would tell you if it was a illegitimate key. But that might have gone by the way of the dodo bird. I don't know. So anyways, all right. So I think with that, hopefully you were able to solve that problem and do what you need to do. But yeah, I don't know. There's not a whole lot you can do with that. You're hosed unless you buy a new operating system or find a legitimate Windows 7 key and just install Windows 10 on it using that product key. It's a little bit easier, but back in the day, you had to match up the product key with Pro, 32-bit, Home, Ultimate. Everything was kind of separated, so you couldn't use a product key across the board. They changed that after a while, but it was still a pain. So, anyways. All right. Paul, if you want to let people know where they can find you at and, where they can get more information, obviously, about Freedom Voice, we'll go ahead and let you throw anything out there right now.
All right, cool. So freedomvoice.com is a great place to start. You can go to our partner inquiry page, fill out the form, submit it. I'll get copied on that via email. If you want to call me directly, our toll-free number is 800-477-1477, and I'm at extension 844. Or email is paul.mendiola, MEN as in Nancy, DIOLA at freedomvoice.com. Or just talk to Jeff, and he'll get you my contact info, and then I'll be happy to tell you all about the partner program and take you through the story.
Awesome. I appreciate you coming out and sharing with us today. Again, it's a great subject to talk about and something that if you're not selling VoIP right now, get a hold of Paul. If you are selling VoIP and you're not happy, get a hold of Paul. Tell you what, just get a hold of Paul and we'll call it done. Hey, try it out, test it out, see what goes on. And, you can make a decision there. But if you don't know, then you'll never know unless you give it a shot. So, all right, Adam, appreciate you coming out as always. And where can people find you at?
I'm in a secret Facebook group, and you can get a hold of me via email, support@itproiowa.com.
Awesome. Appreciate it. And John Dubinsky, where can people find your lovely caricature?
I'm just on the CRP site, Facebook site right now, and I'm looking at a picture of some guy sitting at top. Looks like maybe a tank or an LAV. I'm just trying to figure out who the heck that is. So find me on the CRP group and help me determine who the heck that is.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Everybody can see that. Okay, so thanks, John. All right, come join us live for the Computer Repair Podcast every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern over at podnets.com/CRP Live. Join in on the conversation by hanging out in the chat room. You can send an email to podnuts@podnuts.com or leave a voicemail at 734-335-1000. I thank everyone for listening and subscribing to the show. We'll see you next time on the Computer Repair Podcast.